We are live. All right, y'all. Just, oops. We're live. So, I'm gonna be, just give it a second. But, let me see. So, all right. All right. We're live. Finally. I know, right? So we're gonna get this thing started. But we need to wait for other people. So. All right. Michael. Michael, your audio is muted. Where is Luis?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. You cannot post links in chat.
You can't?
No, you cannot.
Oh, why?
It is a limitation of YouTube.
Okay.
But hang on just a minute. Because I may have gotten us working. Can you talk for me?
I'm live.
You're live. Okay.
I'm live right now, literally right now.
Okay, cool.
So
Excellent.
yeah, that's why I wanted to wait until I wanted to wait till I was live and then invite y'all in.
Yes, you cannot are you live on the same event that we were on before?
No, I couldn't. That event was so messed up, I couldn't salvage it. So unfortunately.
Yeah. I could have gone live with it in Streamlabs, but we're on a new event, so it's all good.
We're just running super far behind, and I don't have all night. So where's Luis? Any idea?
Nope.
That's not helpful.
Let's see. But yeah, there's a problem with it anyway because the Zoom audio device, which I was using,
oh shucks,
did not work. What's wrong?
Oh, I accidentally closed my remote desktop because I had 3 of you playing at once.
Could you text me the new stream URL?
Yeah, you can get it. Well, I'm trying to get my chat back up, but
Okay.
You can get it where it says on YouTube and copy streaming link. What are you gonna do?
Oh, I was just gonna get my thing back up as well. My chat.
Okay, yeah, I just let me. There you go. We need Luis. Sorry, folks. We're just having a whole bunch of problems today. Not our day. Jeez, I'm loud.
Paste this into Chrome, not Safari. Did you email it to Luis?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know where he is, though.
He posted in the chat, so on the new event, so
I don't have speech at the moment, so.
yeah, he's in chat. He's looking for an event, a link to the event.
I sent it to him. I sent it to him.
It may have gone to his junk folder. Hang on just a minute.
Oh, good. You know what? This works on my Mac now. Good. I don't even have to get Windows 365 going. Wonderful.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it is wonderful.
Great.
What?
The extension's great.
I know. All right, y'all. I'm going to quick throw a Taylor's Tech Talks post out, Michael.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to get things across. Where's Luis?
I just sent him another copy of the link, so he should have it.
Okay. There we go. I just posted it there. So it went out to your Twitter. Yeah, so we're good.
Awesome.
You see that? I could do this really quickly with Mars Edit.
Mars Edit is great.
When it doesn't want to, like I said, I can do this really, really quickly. That's why I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to throw out another link and we're going to call it a day. Oh, boy. Wonderful. But yeah, folks, we're about ready once Luis joins us. Hopefully hopefully Payon and everyone else will find us.
Yep.
You think they will?
They may have just been having fun in the chat. Just that was their episode.
Right, but now we're actually live, so hopefully they come join us. In fact, I'm going to do something else.
Yeah, it's interesting that YouTube has links in chat disabled by default. I know it's to help keep people from doing promotions and stuff.
Sometimes we need it.
I think
so what I'm going to do...
I think it should be where moderators can do that, but
what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ping everyone on Discord. So that way... yay.
Hmm?
Alright. Shoot. Oh, no. Whoa, he left.
Alright.
Oh, hold on.
He's here. We're good.
Yeah. Taylor, advice. Don't just copy and paste that link.
Why?
Why? Alright, we're good to go.
Yeah, we're live. Are you there, Luis?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, we are live. Let me turn on my...
There we go. And it just went in the Discord.
Let me turn on my camera, and there we go.
Oh,
All right.
Alright.
So, are we ready?
Yep.
Awesome. Am I coming through? Sorry, chat.
I don't think we have anyone watching us, so hopefully they all come back.
Yeah,
Did y'all hear the taps?
Yes.
Good. Excellent. All right. So 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Techopolis Live. We took a little bit of a break, and we're back this week after some very long, extenuating circumstances and a whole nother stream.
Yeah.
So I'm Michael, and Taylor's with me, right?
Yeah, well, I think so. I
Yeah,
honestly
at
have
this
no
point-
idea. I have no idea at
Cool.
this point if I'm still here. And Michael, you're still getting chats, right?
Yes, I am.
All
and
right.
we have a new person with us today. We have Luis Ramos.
How's it going?
Yeah, we got
Super excited.
we got a cool crowd here. We had some fun when we tried to schedule the event, the stream, and we put everything in that YouTube said for us to put in into Zoom, and we went live, and nothing.
Nope. Fail.
And
No
then
idea.
when we tried to re-put in the information, Zoom wanted to say, "Oh, hey, we're going to be great," and use the same ones you already had in the meeting. I think that's a bug that Zoom really needs to fix in the meeting.
Yeah.
But for next week, whenever we do this again, I have mostly figured out how to use Streamlabs for Mac to do everything that we need to do. No, it doesn't. And but I've mostly figured out how to do all of this stuff in Streamlabs. And the neat thing is that Streamlabs will actually catch your scheduled events, and so I could just pick, the next Techopolis episode and just press the button. So that makes it super easy. It even puts the description and all that in the Streamlabs, so that's pretty neat. I haven't played around too much with that. Actually, you know what? I was trying to do it a few weeks ago, and I could not figure out how to do it.
Right, and I
that's-
remember you saying that, and that's why I wanted to just quick throw this one together, because again, I didn't have all night, and currently it's about 8 p.m. here, so I was like, let's get this thing on the road.
But even though we don't have all night, we will be here to talk to you guys.
Oh yeah, because we want to.
Yep.
I just didn't have all night to deal with streaming troubles, that's all.
Yep. So we have. It's been a busy 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
I've got a new job that I will hopefully be able to talk about soon. We've done a lot with our businesses. Taylor has an announcement later.
Yep, but y'all have to stay around for that, because I'm not going to make it now, but y'all have to stay around to hear about it.
Yep. And so cool stuff. But we're also excited to get out of here once we're done and go have dinner, which is one of the usual topics on our chat. All right, Payon, what's for dinner? I know
I
you'll
think
tell
he
us.
said tacos earlier, didn't he? Maybe not.
I
don't think
didn't know
he's
if that
even in
was
chat.
He is. Chat is working.
Oh, he's in chat now? Are you getting anything?
Yeah, I see Payon on the chat, but I don't know if he came in and left, because we currently only have one person
That's
watching.
what yeah.
It might that one person might be Payon. Who knows?
Actually, it's probably. Oh,
Oh, yep, there we go. Do you know?
Do you pronounce the L in salmon? I don't. I think it's just salmon. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, that depends. If it's in Spanish, it is salmon.
Is it?
Yep.
but I'm not gonna go make myself some salmon. Pizza. Yeah, that actually kind of sounds good because today has just been one of those days. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah,
Now,
pizza.
Now here's the important question: thin crust, regular crust, or dish?
Regular crust, low tomato sauce.
Yep.
Hmm.
Same here, Michael.
Why wouldn't you try the Alfredo sauce?
Now, actually, that's even better. That's even better. But I'm talking traditional pizza. But yeah,
Yeah,
pizza
we're
with-
talking traditional pizza, but yeah.
But if you do have the option of adding Alfredo sauce, then oh yes. Yep.
Quick and easy. Yeah, Payon. You couldn't have said that better yourself. I mean, as I
You
can't
did.
even speak. Y'all, it's going to be an interesting episode.
Yes,
so
it is.
Y'all just might want to stay around, and because
Yeah.
we've had quite a night. I've had a meeting at 6, and then I had to go live at 7, and then we had the technical difficulties, so we're going live at 8 my time, 7 their time, and, it's just been a fun night, but we're going to have a great episode, so y'all just stay
Yeah.
around for our craziness.
So, our first topic, and this is one of the reasons why we have Luis here, is to talk about one of the things. Ooh, yeah, that is good. That's
That
good.
sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
One of the things that I was talking to my dad earlier this week, and ever since there's been such a thing as a smartphone, he's always had Samsung phones and tablets and
Everything, probably.
and everything in between. And now, because Samsung decides to make one little change, that's it. He's done. He's off the bus. He is
Off
talking
the
about
train.
iPhone. Yep. He is talking about iPhone. And I was shocked. I didn't think it would ever happen. He said he's not making a decision yet, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about what is it that gets people to switch? Why do people stay with what they know, or what gets them to move to those new devices? And I've been with an iPhone since 2007, guys. 2007. Like the entire lifespan of the iPhone. And I tried going Android for a week.
For a week?
For a week.
I'm surprised you made it that long.
Yeah. Well, he's changing. Well, first off, Taylor, how long have you had an iPhone?
Ever since 6th grade, so if y'all do the math, you can go ahead and do that. I basically got an iPhone when my iPod decided to break, and the home button, believe it or not, broke. So the home button broke, so my mom and dad's like, let's just get you a phone. You need one anyway because you're all over town. So we're just going to get you an iPhone in 6th grade. So,
Well, that sounds pretty normal for the year iPhones came out.
so whenever I was in 6th grade, I think my first iPhone was a 4S.
Wow. And Luis, when did you start with smartphones?
Well, let's see. I think it might have been the year we went to Austin for college. Because before then, there weren't smartphones. The closest thing to a smartphone was a BlackBerry.
Right. And those were kind of considered smartphones, but and I had some things like smartphones like the Moto Q and things like that, but nothing like the modern day smartphone.
No, I wasn't, because literally our town was so small, I really couldn't go many places. But when I traveled during the summer, I would go out of town and I would actually go to the state center in Kalamazoo, which is where I am now. I mean, not at the state center, but obviously same city. And that's really where, they wanted me to have a phone. Plus, I'd go to different cities, throughout the summer. I basically wouldn't be home. Even if I was in middle school in the summer, I would not be home hardly at all. So,
My first cell phone was actually a Nokia red candy bar phone.
Ooh, I miss the candy bars. And
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about the thin ones. I'm talking about the ones you would see in the movies, like relatively big still, like cordless phone size.
Yeah, mine was a red little Nokia, and it beeped, had all the little ringtones that beeped. This was before the original Moto Razr and all those fancy phones back then. Which is interesting that they have a new Razr, or did. I don't know if they have it still, but wow.
wow.
Luis,
Well,
what did you?
I think my first phone, or the first phone that survived enough years outside of the Nokia candy bar phones, was a Motorola. I forget the model number, but it was back when T-Mobile was voice stream.
And then when did? Because you use Samsung now, is that right?
Yeah, I currently use a Note 9. Due to the chip shortage, I'm gonna be still driving a Note 9 instead of a Note 20 or S20, whatever.
How long have you been a Samsung user?
Let's see, I think 6 years.
Okay, I actually thought it was longer than that for whatever reason.
Nope. Whenever I was doing my training to be an adaptive technology instructor at World Services for the Blind, I actually made the choice to switch over from, I think it was an iPhone 6 or the 6 model in between 6 and 7.
That's
Oh,
right. You guys were iPhone users for a little while. So what
well, we
was
were
your?
we were iPhone users since pretty much iPhone original.
Hmm. But what had your attention on the Note?
The Note, well, first of all, I needed to learn how to use Android as a technology instructor, and I
Hmm.
figured, well, I'll just go with it for training purposes. My family just decided we'll grab whatever phone he grabs because he usually is the smarter one when it comes to phones.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's interesting because people have different reasons for switching. Going back to my dad's story, he switched, or he's talking about switching because of the Samsung is getting rid of their cloud and moving all of their cloud platform to Microsoft OneDrive, and so all of his pictures and all that's going to be switched over to OneDrive. Which say what you will about OneDrive or if it's good or not, it's a big switch, and if somebody's been paying for a service like Samsung Cloud and all the services in that ecosystem and that breaks down, and then it's like, well, why am I going to use multiple ecosystem services to do what I want to do? I think he just wants the simplicity of being on the Apple platform. His wife recently changed to iOS as well. So is that
Well,
kind of? Go
let me
ahead.
put it this way. Let me answer one question here on the chat. But no, I'm probably not gonna get a Samsung flip phone at this point in time.
I
Although
hope you don't.
I do like the clamshell phones, but I think a smartphone plus a clamshell doesn't work very well
No.
on a long term. Now, you had a question there, Mike?
No, I was going to say, is in the future when you guys start looking at what is coming out, is it really just kind of the staying in the Android ecosystem and the ease of use of what y'all know, what keeps y'all there, or is it really just kind of a as you know, is it based on what you know and what's simple, what keeps you guys on Android, or is it just too much of a hassle from going from one thing to another and then back?
Well, one of the things, at least that I have noticed throughout the years, is that with Android, there's a more of an openness to the ecosystem. There's a lot of more flexibility for the types of applications we can use and the systems that we can do. The way I see it, an Android based system is more build your own ecosystem rather than the Apple one that basically you don't have any real choices, but then again, the old slogan they had, it just works kind of thing.
Right, and it's interesting looking at the iPhone compared to Android, and it's interesting looking at it as far as what you can do as far as building your own ecosystem, kind of like you were talking about. I think, on Android, I felt like that for a long time, and I feel like you could still do a lot of that stuff. But one of the things that I'm noticing with Android is the cost of entry is higher. Once you have that initial investment and you know exactly what you're doing, and you are able to do what you're doing, it's great. But it's just that cost of entry of learning, getting it to do what you want. For example, automation. Tasker is a great app for Android. It does all the stuff that shortcuts can do and things like that. The problem is it's just learning it, getting it to do the things.
But but I don't know. You're probably knowledgeable since you also do a lot of technology.
Mm-hmm.
But Android does have an easy mode
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
that you can
Right.
enable, and it simplifies so many things. It limits you a lot more. It gives you a closer experience to, say, if you were transitioning from an iOS platform into an Android-based platform. It's
Right.
not a one-to-one, but it gives you the limitations initially that so you can get used to the basic interface, the way Android works, and even at that point, not all phones follow the same kind of pattern because
Right.
vendors tend to add their own subsystems into the Android platform. Like you were saying with the Samsung Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
I've never used the Samsung Cloud and have no desire or interest in ever having used the Samsung Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
I actually find it equivalent to being bloatware.
Right. But it just depends on your use case, right? Like, for me, one of the things, like, on Android we have Tasker to where we could build automations. On iOS we have shortcuts, which allows for so many programming level automations and things which we didn't have until recently. And so you have widgets and all these things that you could do on iOS similar to Android. And, a lot of people say, well, Android did it first, but it doesn't matter. They both can do it now. And it's like, I guess these days it's what, you still have a lot more choice with Android. You have the openness factor. But
A
you
little
also,
bit, a little
Right.
bit
Oh,
of
yeah, a little bit.
openness, but really there isn't as much openness as people want to think when it comes to Android because there's LG is returning from being a manufacturer of phones. So
hmm
that takes one of the three players in the market, and you have Samsung really, who makes a lot of the market products for Android, at least here in the United States. And
yep,
then you have Google, I think, right?
yep. You have Google with the Pixels. Yep.
So really, the actual head-to-head fight has been Samsung versus Apple when it comes to the cell phone markets.
Isn't OnePlus still
Isn't
Uh,
the OnePlus HTC or
I think
is that a
one
different?
they're a different brand. HTC was bought up by Google.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they're not in the
The
popular
same
one.
league, yeah.
Yeah.
You're maybe comparing a mid-tier phone to a high-tier phone
Mm-hmm.
or a flagship type phone.
Right. And you know that's the one thing is everybody wants to go for those flagships. There are still people here that go for the bottom of the barrel.
Right. They just need a phone. They don't need, they don't need all the bells and whistles.
Or they don't want to pay the prices for them, and they
Yeah.
don't realize they can go and get an iPhone SE or a
Well,
Google Pixel.
this is sort
A.
of interesting, at least with the carrier that I have. We actually looked at what the price of the latest model iPhone was compared to the S20 and S21.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount that we would have to be paying after trading a value from our Note 9s were basically the same monetary amount. There wasn't
Right.
a real difference
Right.
when it came to whenever you do your renewal contract with a trade-in. So barrier to entry is relative unless you want to own the device straight up and you run into the same kind of problem either way. You're going to pay around $800 to $1,000 per flagship device.
At a minimum.
Right. And that's basically what I do, is that I own my device outright.
You know, and then you get up to the one thing that Apple does not do is do the I like to call them the vanity phones, the Z Flip and the Z Fold and the
Yeah, but do we need all that fancy stuff? I mean, because they'll probably break, right?
well, we don't need it, but it's people that want it, right?
Right.
That's why they make it. It's not to say this is the phone you need. This is the phone you want.
Well,
And,
right.
And like Samsung likes to say, we built this because we can, not because we should.
Right.
Well,
One.
yeah, they have released a couple. They're not stateside, but I have seen some Samsung or other carrier phones in Asia that do have those vanity phones. There's one that actually caught my attention at one of the CES style conventions up in Taiwan, and it was a phone that you can open just like the foldable ones, smartphones. But the little gimmick that it has on it is that one side has a screen, but then you can expand it by folding out two other panels and then unfold those. So there's a total of six cell phone panels as a small
Wow.
19 by 9 aspect ratio
Wow.
kind of thing.
What do you think, Luis, of the? And actually, Taylor, I'm curious if you've heard of this. What are your thoughts on the? I think they called it the Surface. Was it the Duo? Surface, basically the Surface phone from Microsoft.
They're a bit too late to get back
The game?
into the phone market.
Yeah. They're a little bit too late to the party.
Well, what I liked was it was an Android phone. Microsoft making an Android phone, which was kind of strange.
Oh, man.
But it was a foldable phone. But instead of being like one of the when you fold it out, the screens just kind of had a loose hinge. It was a very tight hinge, almost like a laptop, and you could put it in different. You could put it in tint mode, like where it would point up in the air while resting on a table. You could put it on a table where the bottom part would be on the table and the top part would be 90 degrees, so you could have a keyboard / viewing device. And I thought the concept was incredible. But they used earlier hardware in it, and so it just didn't sell well. But the concept was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might side bracket here. I don't think that would be very helpful for your meeting there. piping our stream into it to distract them. Might entertain them,
What do
but
you
we
mean?
Yep.
won't get any of the views.
How do you
No.
mean?
Oh,
There's a chat message, Michael?
Chat message.
Huh. Going back to. I'm like, wait. I'm very confused. 'cause that
I
message-
actually caught on to it.
I was like, wait. He left that a long time ago. What's going on?
We never addressed it.
Yeah, I know. I had heard it, but we were talking, so. But yeah, it's interesting, to look at trends, why people switch. That's why I wanted to bring this up.
Well, in my particular case, it was more for professional development, and haven't really switched back to the iOS system because I find it a little bit more restrictive when it comes to things. I know that both systems at a technical level are basically doing the same kind of things that, like with the hashing for images and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I know both of them are doing it, but one gives the illusion of freedom a lot more than the other.
That's true. And actually, the interesting thing is, Google is now taking longer to review apps for the Play Store
Yeah.
than Apple is, and that's
And it would
pretty
be
interesting.
good if my assistant didn't decide to go off.
Yeah,
Somehow, I don't have
totally
headphones
understand
on.
that.
But it still decided to go off, and of course it's at volume 10.
So, but yeah, it's interesting because their policies have actually become as strict as Apple's.
Which
But
is
yet-
interesting.
People like to say that they are they're more open because you can sideload. Well, you can, but they make it more difficult to do. And it still scans it for the APK. So
But how much of that do you think is a play on both Apple and Google trying to enter the Chinese phone markets?
that's probably true. It's probably making sure that there are regulations and things on the apps and games that are in the store. But it's really interesting, seeing that they're changing to meet each other instead of doing the opposite.
Now, looking at the different kind of platforms, there was a Kickstarter not too long ago, which would allow you to actually have a modular, build your own cell phone platform,
Right.
where you could, instead of having to upgrade your entire phone, you could actually just purchase an upgraded module if you wanted a better camera, larger battery, but the core board would be the same, and then
That's interesting.
you would only have to upgrade the motherboard, for the lack of a better term, every so often when you wanted to get the latest core functionalities.
Mm-hmm. And Motorola was doing a fairly modular phone for a while too. So that's it just depends on what your preference is, really. But I think it's always an interesting conversation because everybody is so opinionated. iOS, Android, which one?
Yep.
So, Taylor, what are your thoughts? Because you haven't had a chance to say much about all of this. What would it take for you to switch from your iPhone?
I don't even know. That's the answer to that question. Actually, I don't know if I really would want to, because I'm already in the Apple, well, as Clubhouse called it, the Apple Orchard, or, the Apple ecosystem. I've got a Mac, and I can do iMessage. I've got, all this other stuff. I don't know what it would take. I honestly have no idea, because I'm already so invested in this other ecosystem, right? Then I don't know.
I think a sexy Vocaloid voice.
No, not that wouldn't help at all. In fact, that would probably deter me even more.
I have never understood the whole allure behind Vocaloid.
Vocaloid, putting aside the animation representation of it, and the technology is actually very interesting. It's
Oh, it is interesting.
voice synthesization, which, from my point of view, the application would be more closer to screen readers than anything else. The fact that you can make them sing or do Romeo and Juliet on your computer when using a screenwriting tool is rather amusing, though.
Yeah, but everything I've heard of them, they don't utilize them effectively. So they still sound halfway decent and halfway like, oh, this still needs some work.
Okay.
Well, a lot of it in some cases is actually what do you do whenever you start hitting that uncanny valley?
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, and this is what I don't understand. Jason and myself, and I think I don't know if you were there, Taylor. We were playing with one of the new African American voices in Siri. I think it was voice 3, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if I was here or not. I was probably in a meeting.
But we were talking about, we were having the very, important conversation. All these conversations are very, very important, of course.
Is it in air quotes important?
Air quotes important, yeah. Of what speech synthesizer Stephen Hawking used. And we did determine it is an older version of Deck Talk that sounded, to me, more like Eloquence or one of the IBM voices, but it is Deck Talk. And so we were playing around. He downloaded one of the speeches from Professor Hawking. And then he had it play through some of the speech synthesizers on the Mac and had it play through Siri Voice 3. And I'm like, man, I could be an audiobook narrator and I would so listen to that.
Right.
It was really detailed. And I just feel like compared that voice and some of the voices that you get in the natural speaking voices in the Edge browser for doing reading of documents and web pages, those are much better than what is possible currently with, or what people are presenting with Vocaloid. So that's why I've never quite understood the allure of the Vocaloid trend.
Well, you may actually start understanding a little bit more of the Vocaloid trend if you watch that series I've been telling you about called Vivi.
Yeah, I need to check that out. So I want to move. The Amazon is using audio description, text to speech, which is really neat.
Yeah,
but I want
quite a bit.
I want to talk about a topic. I want to bring up something that last guy that sent a chat message, Payon. I'm looking at you. Changed my life today.
Well, not just yours, Michael, but
changed my life.
I think they're still cleaning up the change.
Yeah, the drool, from learning that this exists, it was not real, but figuratively. So, 1Password tip, folks. Did you know that 1Password can be your authenticator app? I didn't.
I guess I didn't either. I've always just used the Google app for the few things I need it for.
Well, what 1Password can do is not only can it copy and paste in your yeah. Okay, I don't know about that last part, but
I don't know.
Well, that last statement is subjective.
That's to be determined.
But basically, not only can you add a password, but you can add a one-time password for a two-step or two-factor verification process. So it will even copy the code into the website you're on, or you can get it from your phone. So, like say you're on an iPhone and your phone breaks, you get a new one and you can't restore from backup for whatever reason. If you're using Microsoft Authenticator, Google, all those, you are sunk.
Yep, you're yeah.
You're out of luck. Basically, it can do some amazing stuff. I mean, if you don't have to use another app, and you could get that in the desktop app, the browser extension, the iOS app, the Android app, your iPad app. You don't have to go anywhere else for it. It makes all the sense in the world, but nobody thinks about it. So 1Password really does handle all of the stuff for you without you having to really worry about going out and looking for those codes and having them possibly not work, or having to take more than 30 seconds to copy them into place.
Now, let me play the devil's advocate here. And what happens if you forget your master password?
If you forget your master password and your secret key, you are out of luck. But you're out of luck if you do that anyway, because then the first part of that password process won't work. If you get a password suggestion from 1Password, then that's not going to work if you can't remember it. But it also comes down to what happens if, for whatever reason, your phone stops working. They give you a new phone. You can't get that back up. Well, then you really can't get into your accounts.
And at that point, I'm guessing you would lose access to every other account that's tied to that one account.
So like if you have a Stripe account, if you have, anything in your authenticator that requires that two-step verification process, you would lose track of that, period. But as long as you have your master password and your secret key, you're good. You can always get access to that, no matter what device you're on.
So, how can people back up that kind of information in a secure way? Because so if people who are older may not realize, oh, I really need to remember this kind of information, and the function of the 1Password is to make life easier. How can they be sure that they won't accidentally just forget a very important piece of information?
I'm going to just be honest. Sometimes the only way you can do that, actually, they have a document that you could print. It's
called your emergency kit.
Yeah, they have the emergency kit. You can print it out using your printer. Keep it in a lockbox in your apartment or your home, or keep a copy on a flash drive, a USB drive that you keep on your keychain. Those are some ways that you can make sure that information stays secure and with you at all times.
Excellent. Just wanted to have people listen to that, because that tends to be an important thing. I know it's not the same thing, but I can't tell you the number of times I've heard of stories of people using blockchain technology systems that forget their master passwords and they're locked out of their systems.
I had 10 Bitcoin in 2010 and I want to cash them in. Oh, too bad.
Well, it's not just limited to Bitcoin. Blockchain is a logistical system. So imagine being the guys who got hacked at the oil company here in the Houston area and a couple of months ago. Yeah, all that important information for the entire company. If somebody forgets that master key, they're FUBAR'd.
Yep. So I guess I speaking of that, this is a great transition. I think a lot of advanced and developer-based users feel this on a lot of platforms. FUBARD, or at least that's how companies think of them. I've been watching a lot of YouTube in the last couple of years. And if you follow me on Twitter, I'm sure you know that anytime I like something on YouTube, it goes to my Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, same here.
One of the problems that we've seen, especially from Apple, but even other companies, is that there has been a push to say, well, 99% of our Yeah, I kind of forgot about that, Payon. You can attach a photo ID and that kind of stuff to your 1Password.
That would be useful for traveling internationally, kind of thing.
Yep.
And there's a travel mode, I think, for 1Password.
So, where I was going on this next topic is, companies like Apple, they're catering to a certain percentage of their market share because they know that that's what they want. And I kind of feel like, like we still don't have 16-inch M1, M2, whatever we're going to call them, Macs. The iPads. It's been 10 years of iPad, and we're 11 years. And we're just now getting the ability to really do any programming on them. You could do music, you could do sound editing, you could do photography, you could do all the other stuff. Programming, what? They don't need to do that on an iPad.
No, they need an updated trash can for that.
Say again, Luis?
They need an updated Apple trash can for development.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make that mistake again. Although the fact that they built the trash can Mac Pros in Texas was pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, ever since they retired the last of the cheese grater Mac Pros, as that we call them, have you seen one of these, Taylor?
No.
So basically, they're a big computer tower, and the front and the back are filled with tiny, little bitty holes for breathing quality, so fans could pump out air. And because they're aluminum and they're metal and have holes in them, they look like a cheese grater.
Huh.
Weren't those the ones that were like almost 30 inches tall?
They were pretty tall, yeah. They're about a mid server tower in height, and you could put a lot of components in those things. I think you could. I think the current one can be spec'd up to like $30,000.
I remember when we would just go to the Apple Store website and try to max it out and see what.
Sometimes I still do. It's not nearly as much as they used to, but their wheels are like over $1,000 for them. So
Jeez.
For the new one, yeah. And so they've taken strides to bring that back, but the Intel Macs, like when you run the iPhone simulator, if you do anything audio related, it's going to make your speakers stutter because of they don't really care about making that efficient anymore. We are the last to get the high performance processors for doing productivity work because they want to get that initial user. They want to impress people on the low end, that the cost effective, before they give out to the pro users. And I kind of feel like it needs to be a little bit of both. What are y'all's thoughts on this?
Well, I think part of the low end approach, at least looking at how wonderful last year went and how wonderful this year is going, I think from a business standpoint, they're probably trying to go for the widest margin
Yep, in
possible
market.
so that they can make good money on chips that might actually not be bleeding edge.
Yeah, and that makes sense, especially because of the chip shortage. It's interesting because Microsoft is supposed to be the company that's there for developers and doing things like that. But it's interesting that like their Surface Studio has not been updated in many years. It's a great looking hardware, but I think it's still using 7th generation processors. And so it's kind of interesting looking at, they would rather build just like Apple computers for like the Surface Pro, the Surface laptop, good for productivity and education and, just watching Netflix. But like Apple, it's not about for them about. I feel like the users that want to do high end coding and compiling, those of us are kind of being left to, well, you could get your stuff later.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, go ahead.
do you really need um, a brand new processor to crunch numbers outside of being actual research?
Believe it or not, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on this. When you're doing a lot of like, say you're developing React Native, and you're doing a lot of interpretation of JavaScript to then Swift and Android, or Swift and Java or Kotlin. It does take a bit longer to do the builds and runs. And see, the problem is, I actually used to be of the opinion that I don't need a powerful processor to build an app. I've actually changed that opinion.
Okay, walk us through that change.
Well, okay. So if I'm working on an app and I don't have a hot reload feature in Swift or, Object or Java or Kotlin, like I would in Cordova,
React Native.
Flutter or React Native,
Yep.
right? And I have to build and run that thing every time. And when you think, okay, it's going to take 20 seconds to do a build. That's great.
That adds up, though.
It does. And if you're changing one button to say hello world to hello world exclamation point, to changing the background color to be blue, and then changing the color to be yellow, and then you want to test that and see how it works and looks on the device every time, 20, 40, 60, 80, those second counts add up, and you're just basically having to hurry up and wait.
But how would a new processor improve that? I mean, there's been marginal improvements on consumer grade CPUs.
Actually, because of threading technology, they can improve that build process several times over.
But that's assuming the compilers or systems have threading purposely built into it.
Well, with Apple on their side, they do. Like anything on the M1s, they compile so much faster. And then, and I didn't realize this. I was watching a video the other day. The RAM, having multiple iOS simulators open, that matters as well. Somebody was able to bog down an M1 with 16 gigs of RAM with 2 iOS simulators and 2 Android simulators.
I don't know if that's impressive or have to say you need more RAM.
That's the max that the computer can be updated to.
That's something that I feel, even though it's more efficient from what I've been seeing the M1 system, I still think that you should still be able to go all the way up to 64.
I agree, and
Yep.
I think it's a limit of the M1 processor because the M1 is basically just an A14 that's in the iPhone with extra bits added on.
So, do you think it's a limitation on the pathways of the processor itself
It
to
is.
be able to process
Hmm.
all the DIMMs?
It is. I think when they come out, and I think the reason why we haven't seen the more advanced stuff is that we haven't seen the new processors coming this year on the new iPhones. I'm guessing, I'm betting, and nobody's really agreeing with me on this, but I'm betting that Apple is now basing all of their processor technology around the iPhone. So when the iPhone has a new processor come out, then the iPads, the Macs, and everything else will too.
So, do you think they're gonna eventually phase out the Macs and just call them tablet versions of the iPhone
No.
from a hardware perspective?
I don't think so. It maybe in 20 years because of how Steve Jobs said there will never be a touchscreen Mac. And I think they cannot rely on iPad OS being the productivity tool that they want it to be.
Because
for
you still
building
have to
apps.
have a Mac.
If you're building apps and doing photography, yes. They still have not gotten a full version of Photoshop on the iPad, even though they had a demo at a keynote a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember that keynote.
Or even Final Cut. Is Final Cut on an iPad?
Nope, neither is Logic Pro.
Well, then
I thought there was some version of Premiere, though.
They may have a version, but it's not the full version of it.
it's a modified version.
Yeah,
Probably.
but even if we go back to just the basics of Apple, there's a version of GarageBand and a version of iMovie on there.
There is. And now there's going to be Swift Playground. So you could do the bare minimum. But the pro, like when, the really high level stuff for pros is still not going to be a possibility.
Well, yeah, I mean, the idea is that you would be maybe taking your B-roll or doing the initial cuts of the content that you've developed on the platform. So when you bring it back in for intake, you would do the refinement on the
Yeah.
full release.
But the interesting thing is using the same processor. I watch a YouTuber, Sarah Dici. She was showing on an M1 where she was using Adobe Premiere on an M1 Mac, doing everything that she needed to do that she did on a PC on the M1 version of that program, whereas the iPad can't do anything similar. So it's really interesting seeing that the iPad with the same specs, believe it or not, the same exact specs, cannot support more professional software.
Nope.
Where do you think the limitations lie at that point?
The operating system, and I still blame Apple for that. They have the ability to open the iPad OS software. That's why they named it iPad OS, so that they could distinguish it from iPhone. But yet they're going to keep it the same, basically, as iOS for iPhone, and not give it the freedom that it needs to be the productivity tool that it deserves to be.
Do you think it would change if enough of an internal demand was there for
I think if there
the
was enough,
developers?
I think if there was enough internal demand at Apple, like if enough people at Apple said this needs to be a thing, they would make it a thing. And I think that they have prototypes at Apple now where that's actually a thing. But they don't feel like it's ready for the public. The public wouldn't know what to do with it because it's so different. And that's just my thoughts.
Any ideas there, Taylor?
Nope. Like I said, I kind of agree with everything. There's really, not really much to be said.
So I guess Taylor, why don't you talk about your big news?
All right, y'all. So Taylor's accessibility services is no more. I
Wah,
know.
wah.
Uh-huh. I have officially rebranded to Taylor's Accessible Branding Solutions, LLC. My paperwork was finalized
Really?
today.
Really? And what is this new brand company that you have?
Well, I mean, considering that you are one of my contractors, um,
Really? I don't remember signing anything.
basically
You
we're
did
gonna
with your
do
Stripe account.
what?
You basically did with connecting your Stripe account.
Yep.
That was a minor detail that, that's why they say read the fine line.
Right?
But basically, we're gonna be doing not only accessible. We're okay. We're gonna be doing more than accessibility, right? Accessibility is not gonna be our primary motivator anymore. We are going to be doing the whole package. So marketing, branding, career, like technical writing and other types of writing. And thanks to Luis, he's going to be the writer on staff. So we're going to be doing that kind of writing. And also as well as that, we're going to be, doing, like I said, editing, proofreading, and that kind of thing.
You know, I just have one point to make to the audience. I highly doubt they're here, but if for whatever reason my English professor ever watches this, I actually learned how to write properly.
Well,
Anyway,
Aren't you glad that? Now you know what? It would be hilarious if somebody just randomly comments and says, "I am your English professor. You may not remember my name, but I am."
what is this gonna be a Futurama or a Simpsons kind of reference here?
It'd be just like one of my Minecraft streams where if the actual person did jump in and say that, and Luis goes, "Eep."
but yeah, so that's what's happening, guys. We're rebrand. Well, a bunch of us. We're getting a new logo, and then yeah, it'd be pretty great. The Taylor Access website's going to be changing a lot. If you want to know more, just look at my post on Facebook. It's going to make it to Twitter eventually, probably tomorrow afternoon when I'm. Oh yeah, I didn't tell y'all. I have to go. To the place tomorrow afternoon.
Taylor, it helps if you tell the audience from the beginning.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. I'll probably do it tomorrow when I do all my other postings. But I at least want to get it out to Facebook since apparently that's where the majority of y'all are. So, we have that as well.
And that's one of the important things of that kind of branding is knowing where your audience comes from and targeting those kind of things.
My audience, 95% comes from Facebook.
That's interesting. And so what kind of services are you guys going to be providing? Other than you mentioned, are you guys going to be doing more still the technical like website development management and all that kind of stuff?
Yep, that's all going to be the same.
Good. Cool.
That is all going to be. And again, y'all just read the Facebook post because again, it's been a long night. So, my brain's just like, yep, done.
Well, we're still, from my understanding there, Taylor, we're still doing the web development and web management like we were doing before. We're bringing in the idea of the rescue web accessibility concept.
Well, basically, not even web accessibility. Basically, where we help people
Website rescue.
Yeah, help with abandoned websites. So if you have an abandoned website and you're not sure what to do with it, we can help you basically rescue it.
Mm-hmm. We're also looking at doing content and copy writing.
Yep, we have that as well.
We're looking at doing editing and proofreading, and this can range from anything from your freshman English class that you wish to verify that you wrote correctly, to graduate level work for grant development, or could be something more personal like a wedding speech.
Yep. Any of those.
And that's awesome. um, you know, also, but you forgot one important thing.
What might that be, Michael?
Um, one really important new addition that you guys are adding. So, Taylor, why don't you talk about your SEO services?
Yeah, so we've got some SEO stuff, right? Search engine optimization. Basically, we're gonna try to. Well, we're gonna try. We I just got a word fence alert. Oh my gosh, somebody getting into sites again. Anyways, so yes, we are gonna try to help with optimization of websites for search engine optimization, so that you can be found on Google more easily. And I happened to pass the LinkedIn assessment yesterday, which I felt so good about. But, we're going to be doing some Google Analytics as well for marketing. I'm taking a LinkedIn learning course on that now. And, a whole bunch of different SEO services to try to get people's rankings up in, Google and other search engines so that you can be found organically without having to spend hundreds of dollars a month on Google ads.
Now, your SEO stuff can go in tandem with the thing that you were saying about career management or job coaching and personal branding.
Oh, yeah, it will.
Because even though you may be, say, a good marketer, a good writer, a good computer engineer, sometimes we've gotten trained to think that what we do is basically just the work for the company that has hired us. And we never really think about it as this is the type of brand. My brand is this. What do I represent as an individual?
Right.
And what am I selling as a service as an individual?
Correct.
Because there's not just regular company branding, but there's also your personal brand. How do you brand yourself personally to people that come across you online? How are you present? How do people look at you? And are you approachable? Are you available? And all those things are important when you have an online presence as a business owner, worker, gamer, YouTuber, all those things.
Yep.
Or
it's all very important.
Or just interacting with relatives who are far away. The impression that you give across social media or through just slow mail or email type communications can help you appear better or worse depending on how you react or deal with those kind of situations.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I think Taylor, you and Luis both have a great thing that will be going on.
Oh, yeah.
So I wish y'all all the luck. And Techopolis is going to be moving in its own direction to provide app development services to ourselves. Yes, I said it, to ourselves. We're going to be building our own.
So is that a more personal approach of business to business, business to self?
Actually, it's basically so that we as developers can continue our education and build products that can be downloaded through the App Store and Google Play through Techopolis. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to have new products come out that businesses can use for high tech levels of solutions like OCR and things like that. So don't think that all of our client work will be going away. It won't. It's just going to change, and we will be doing really research into the next level in providing technology level services for people out there. So our other goal is really also to, and we kind of do some of this on this YouTube channel, is to promote the education of new programmers. It is tell me if I'm wrong, Taylor, but I think it's both of our dream to see more programmers.
Yeah, we need more. And like I said, Taylor's Tech Talks does the same thing.
Mm-hmm. It's not even just so that we don't want to compete. We want to discuss. We want to improve the state of technology in the world.
We need more programmers, right? It's just,
So, yeah. Well, cool, guys. I think this has been a very eventful episode.
I think so too.
From the beginning to this point, but I think we're about to wrap it up. Luis, you're the newbie here today. Where can people find you online and tell people something interesting you want people to know?
Well, right now you can find me bombing out on the Taylor Access website, for sure. You can reach out to me at Asajev, Asajev, on Twitter if you wish to reach out to me personally. You can reach out to my own organization, Able Prepper, at Able Prepper on Twitter. You can also join us on the iAccessibility Discord server. Would that be a good place?
Yeah, we will be. Yeah, we're going to be opening that up a little more for people to join. We have a lot of discussions there. So yeah.
Yep.
Anything else that you would like to learn about me? Oh, my dear public.
Don't know.
You'll have to find out, I guess.
Yep.
In the next great adventures of the Untargeted audience.
Taylor, what about you?
Y'all can find me all over the web. I mean, Taylor's Tech Talks, first off. I do Taylor's Teardowns every Monday where I tear down some kind of tech product, whether it's, apps or different things. You can find me at Tay's Tech Talks on Twitter, Taylor's Accessible Branding Solutions on Facebook. We just have our new Facebook page as well, so I'm super excited about that. You can find me at Taylor_Art22 if you want to see what I tweet about, which is mostly YouTube video videos at this point. So if you want to see what I'm watching on YouTube, that's probably the best place to find me. And you can email me, taylor@tayloraccess.com. And like I said, I'm also on Facebook, because that's where 95% of my audience is, so I'm going to be there too now, a lot more. But if you're going to friend me on Facebook, just say who you are, because I've been getting a lot of spammers, so just put a note and say you found me on Techopolis or wherever. That way I know that you're actually not a bot.
All right, and you can find me producing content for Techopolis. I'm streaming all the time on this channel. Tonight, no game content tonight, folks. Sorry. Tomorrow, though. Tomorrow I will have some new Minecraft stuff to do, so we will be doing that. And then, I'm on Twitter as Mike Doies. You can email me at mikedoies@techopolis.online. And you can find me all over the web, iaccessibility.net, and a lot of my other places. So it's been awesome, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up for today. And we will be back soon for another episode. Bye, y'all.
Well,
Bye, y'all.
Later's all.
Oh, wait. I'm in charge of the stream, aren't I?
Yes, you
Well,
are.
that's an outtake.
Well, we don't really have outtakes.
We don't have outtakes.
It kind of goes in. Yeah.
All right, ready?
Take us down, Taylor.